If you're looking for him, you miss him because he's you. Will there be another Gandhi? There will never be another Gandhi. Will there be another Mother Teresa? There'll never be another Teresa. Mother Teresa. Will there be another you? There will never be another you. The task that is before us in seizing this promised land, it is not something that someone else needs to do. This revolution will be internalized. We have to be the ones who walk this new revolution out. Right? We have to be those Moseses. And the thing to remember as we get into this is that our silence, not being able to speak up, not talking, not speaking our mind, is someone else's prison. Their liberty is in the fact that I get embarrassed when I have to stand up in front of people and correct someone's behavior. Their liberty is when I'm at Cub and I see a cashier being disrespectful to a patron because she doesn't want to touch or ring up the pork. And I step in and I say, ma'am, don't you have something that you're working on? And the fear that I might get talked back to or not served or whatever. All of that fear that I swallow to make sure that I do those things is someone else's liberty. All right? So, let's get into this thing. So, micro-inequities. So when you hear that term, micro-inequities, what kinds of things come up for you? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you think? When you decided to come to this workshop, what were some of the things that were running through your mind that might be discussed in this workshop?
Things that maybe I do without thinking that hurt.
Okay, things that you may do that you're not thinking that hurt other people. Okay, without thinking. All right, other things.
Just ingrained, things that are ingrained in people, institutions, whatever, that are, it's a very slight, perpetuation of bigger issues, but maybe it's just the way that the person's learned how to talk and their tone, their language, but, just looking at those little things, and even in our personal life, maybe do with our parents and not really, realize that we're saying something or sending someone work anywhere.
Okay.
So just those little things that maybe it did to somebody else, but
So
we're not,
just
we
those
don't
little
mean it like that, but it means a lot to that person. It affects that other person that is on the receiving end of that.
Okay, cool. I saw another hand, or did somebody breathe? So we're going to talk about micro inequities. Micro obviously being small, and inequities being that balance of power that is off balance in some way, right? So we'll talk about that. So our purpose is to provide an understanding and an appreciation of how micro inequities affect people at home, work, and at play. To examine micro inequities' effect on one's discretionary effort, the quality or attitude given to a task, and lastly, to allow, to allow or provide a way to avoid, compensate, and eliminate micro inequities through building relationships and reinforcing standards. Now, one of the things I have to tell you is that I hate diversity training. And I know that sounds kind of weird coming from a person who is a diversity coordinator, and I spend a lot of my time doing diversity training. I typically don't like it because I think it's been done poorly. Typically what happens is there is a problem at work, and there's usually a problem person. And so what they do is they call in a trainer like myself to come in and fix that person. So we get the whole group together to fix that person. but the person doesn't even realize that this training is about them. Right? The other thing is that diversity trainers typically come in with an attitude that they have all the answers and that people in the audience don't know anything, or that they have these deficiencies that only they can heal. And lastly, what happens is a supervisor goes and goes to a training and they get saved. Now, I don't know if you know if that, I come from a Pentecostal Christian background, but saved is when you finally see the light, right? And so what happens is there's no accountability for the stimulation of these diversity initiatives that happen. And so people get these emotional highs, but then there's no action steps to follow them after they've had this emotional high. And I know that many of you have heard the expression, and I even use it, and you'll see it in this presentation, the one that's on your disc as well. You've heard people talk about the smile sheets at the end of the workshops, right? And that's how people feel about that workshop at that moment in time, but it never carries over into some real behavior and action. And so I think it's important that we talk about micro inequities, but we also talk about how do we walk out practical solutions, and those practical solutions are discretionary effort. And we'll talk about discretionary effort as well as micro inequities, all right? Because I do not want to be accused of an individual who points out problems without having some tactical problem-solving techniques that we can use, all right? So, we showed this video. What do you notice, or what's going on with this child?
He wants attention.
He wants attention, all right.
He's doing what he thinks, well, apparently this worked.
Apparently this worked at some point, okay. All right.
He knows who has the ability to make him feel better.
Okay, he knows who has the ability to make him feel better. What else do you notice about this? He wants to be heard. Okay. Cool. So those are the things that we notice. Those are the things that we can see. So I'm less interested in the things that we can see because I can be tricked by those things. What I'm more concerned about is why he's doing this. Right? So I want to know, why do you think the child is behaving in this way?
Because he wants the adult to pay attention.
Okay, because he wants the adults to pay attention to him. All right. Why is he behaving in this way?
It's attention seeking. It probably worked at one point.